Southern Baptists was that we didn't have her nipples sticking out there. But otherwise, that was the cover. And I think the cover had as much to do with the book's success as anything, but the sex was clearly a part of it also.
I had a call from a couple of Texans, Bobby Geisler and John Roberto. They were so enthusiastic, and they said, "We love your book," and I liked them. And so I gave them the rights for so many years. They hired Bertolucci, but then they decided he was not the right one, he's a bit heavy-handed, and so they got rid of him just before he won an Oscar. Then they found a Yugoslavian, Kusturic, and they said, "Don, this is great. We've had the offer for the whole of the Yugoslavian army as extras," but at that moment NATO decided to bomb Bosnia, and then he said, "No, I'm not making a film for the West." It was just one more of the curse coming, you know. There were other directors. One was Pedro Almodovar, and another was David Cronenberg. Then David Lynch with Dennis Potter as the screenwriter. And there's a story that they met in America, and they embraced at the end with tears in their eyes, and said, "This is going to be our great achievement," you know. And Isabella Rossellini was going to be his leading lady. In fact, there was a moment, New Year's Eve in Paris, when Geisler and Roberto were in the Ritz with champagne, waiting for him to come and sign the contract. And instead, the waiter came and said, "A call for you." And David Lynch here, "Isabella has left me, and I'm afraid I can't make The White Hotel without Isabella. I'm heartbroken." There have been so many extraordinary hitches all along the way.
I'm Bernie Nyman. I'm a publishing lawyer. When I got involved in dealing with the film rights of the book, that was very much a privilege. It really was the most extraordinary book. But this is somewhat clouded by the trouble that it's caused Don over many years. I've never heard of anything quite like this with regard to film rights in a book. Don effectively had to change allegiance from Geisler and Roberto to the investor, Gerard Rubin. Rubin had put in millions of dollars. He was trying to get his money back by getting court orders that gave the rights in the film project to him.
But Geisler and Roberto tried to get out of this by selling the rights to the White Hotel for $1 to a friend, who then gave them back the rights. This created a huge lawsuit which went on for years and years and years, and also involved me. I was stunned one day when I had a writ given to me. Jerry Rubin was suing me for $4.2 million. It was just overwhelming. At last, after about 10 years, I had more or less to partly cave in and give the rights to Rubin. Geisler countersued, and so it was one endless, exhausting case. That, more than anything, weighs on me with regard to the White Hotel, the lawsuit, you know. Another Potter entered the story, Susan Potter. She really knew her stuff, so I gave her the option for 3 years. She was looking for a director. She hired Philippe Mora, and they went to the Cannes Festival, first class all the way. But the guy who had promised the money had had a sudden accident and was in a coma, and so he was unable to sign the check. And so the money had run out.
So my note to David is to keep a smile in the character. My name's John Amiel. I'm the director of The White Hotel, radio adaptation of a screenplay by Dennis Potter. Way back in the early 80s, I'd read D.M. Thomas's extraordinary novel, and the combination of Dennis Potter, with whom I'd done The Singing Detective, and the extraordinary novel was just irresistible. The screenplay is laced through, in a sense, with Dennis's voice and preoccupations and imagery. Dennis